Comic News, episode 130. I am one of your hosts, Chris. Alongside, he plans on retiring at 29. It's Mike.
Retiring from podcasts, maybe? I don't know. So I'll have to start working a second job or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shot at Andrew Luck, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Football's coming.
Yeah, I just finished my draft, my fantasy draft.
I do mine next Sunday.
I didn't realize how to schedule my Sunday. It was like 5 o'clock draft, 6 o'clock podcast. Works out.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the Bloodhaven Brawlers will do a little bit better this year, but
my team name is the Airbuds. If that tells you anything that I know about sports. I might as well just put a dog out on the field to throw the ball around because I watch football and I'm interested in it, but as far as individual, if I don't know, a wide receiver for the Ravens, I could give a shit, but it's damn, I got to pick him for my fantasy team because it looks like he scores a lot of points.
Yep, our league actually started because me and the owner of the comic shop were talking, and we talked so much football.
Right.
Outside of comics that we decided to start a league together. Actually, he decided to start a league. I just joined along, made him do all the work. But so every team is a comic book themed team, and he is the Multiverse Marauders.
It's pretty good.
And I got Bloodhaven Brawlers because somebody else picked up Gotham Knights before I could. So.
Oh, you didn't get to make your own name?
No, we were, but somebody got into the app and actually took Gotham Knights before I was able to. So I had to be there.
Why didn't you say the MODOK Massacres or something? I don't know.
Well, if we have another not so great year this year, we might be going for a logo change.
The MODOK Man Punchers is a pretty good one.
We're gonna pull a Tennessee Titans next year if we don't do so hot this year because we need a change. But.
Yeah, Airbuds sucks. I'll claim the last place again this year.
I'm down with the Airbuds. I'm not gonna lie. But
anyways, let's jump into the news. We do not have an interview this week, mostly because we skipped a week and there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, and if any of our YouTube viewers are out there, I'm not in hiding or being held captive. I just don't have internet at my house, so I'm in my parents' basement, the best comic book collector I can.
You've become the stereotype.
Siphoning the internet because there's none in my house currently.
So you're I mean, when people are like, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, he probably lives in his parents' basement. It's yep.
Only on Sunday nights.
Only on Sunday nights. Yeah, it does look like you took a week to go into hiding, and you're hiding. We're trying to be censored or something, and you had to go on the run.
I posted a few things making fun of Marvel recently, so they're coming after me.
Yeah, they're sending the assassins. Speaking of assassins and getting cut. Krypton and Lobo were canceled by Sci-Fi. Both shows are being shopped to other networks. So I would assume probably CW. I don't know.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I haven't watched the most recent season of Krypton, but I did like Krypton. I
heard it's good. I haven't watched it yet. I'm going to watch it after Swamp Thing.
I think what was happening was it was too expensive. And it wasn't getting the ratings they wanted. I would like to see it just go to DC Universe. I think it's the best spot, or HBO Max, or whatever the hell they're calling it. But I think that's the best spot. Just put it in your home streaming service, spend the money, people will come and see it. And you already got Lobo set up. Why not just continue and give it a shot, at least for one season?
Right. Some crazy random news that dropped. Because I've never heard Kevin Smith ever talk about it. Any interest at all. Him and Mark Bernardin have teamed up from the Fat Man on Batman podcast. Yes. Now Fat Man Beyond or whatever. But they're co-writing a He-Man animated series for Netflix, which is going to be a sequel to the original animated series.
Yeah, craziest news of the week, and we had some crazy news this week.
Can you give me a King He-Man story arc instead of King Conan, He-Man with a beard?
That's a really good idea.
See, I've been waiting for this. I love I loved He-Man growing. Well, I was watching the original cartoons. Remember they had that like in between. Was it the 90s, early 2000s?
I'm going to be honest with you. I have zero He-Man knowledge. Like, I think the only thing He-Man I've ever... Actually, there's two comics I've read. I read Justice League He-Man, and I read Injustice Gods Among Us He-Man. That's it.
I just know he says the power of Grayskull, that he gets super jacked, and his cat gets, like, armor.
Yeah, I attempted with the cartoon a while back, but some of those old animations are tough. Yeah. And if you didn't grow up on them, I think it's hard to have any kind of affinity for it. But
well, that's what I'm saying. I remember watching a newer series that had better animation, and that's what I got into. And it had, like Man-at-Arms, but we don't ever talk about that god-awful movie with Dolph Lundgren. I think it's on Netflix. There's a He-Man movie with him, and Skeletor's got like a rubber mask. It's like a rubber mask he's wearing. Oh man! So that's gonna be cool. It's gonna be heading to Netflix. I'm gonna watch it for sure.
Yeah, Netflix has that She-Ra show, so fits in.
Mandalorian trailer dropped. That was a pretty big tease, huh?
Holy shit! I was so happy.
So is that Pedro Pascal in the Mandalorian costume?
I believe so.
So we can't hear him or see him. What is it? Are we ever going to hear him and see him?
I don't know if we'll ever see him. I kind of hope we don't.
Yeah.
But
he must be. I mean, he does talk eventually.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be conversations. I loved everything. It had that dark, gritty feel. It had the Star Wars universe vibe.
He cuts a person in half with a door.
Yeah, and IG-88 shows up as well. So
yeah, and he's shooting guns, like doing something, not just standing there. That was pretty cool.
So any longtime listeners know my affinity for the original Bounty Hunters. So you brought IG-88 into it, I'm down. That means possibly Boba Fett's coming. That means possibly we could get Bosk at some point. It's endless what they could do here. I am really happy. It's cool to see something non-lightsaber related in the Star Wars universe live action, because obviously I have read so much that's non-lightsaber related, but it seems to be a hole in the Star Wars catalog for a lot of people.
Yeah, it looks really good. I mean, I'm down to watch it, and it seems some other characters too are like nods, because this takes place after Return of the Jedi, right?
Yes, that was the other thing I really liked, is it's an in-between show. So it's the first time outside of, like, I think one comic series and maybe a few books that we've seen in between 6 and 7. And that's something I want to explore more of, because I want to know, like, the Empire doesn't just crumble with Palpatine dying. So
right, because we know, I mean, and we're going to talk about that, but we know Palpatine's alive. So.
Yeah. And in one of the comics I read, we'll talk about that later too, like they talk about the fact that the Empire isn't one man. So obviously there's more to the end of the Empire than just Palpatine and Vader dying. So I want to see what's going on in that in-between space. Yeah,
we're going to see it from a neutral point of view, I would think, as well.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. And then Ewan McGregor is returning for Star Wars series, untitled right now, but he's going to be reprising the role as Obi-Wan, set between episodes 3 and 4. There wasn't a title released yet for it, though, right?
No, but I'd be shocked if it's called anything other than Obi-Wan.
I'm hoping, like, Obi-Wan 2, like, comma T-O-O, like, he's back. I don't know. No, I want it to be like, I don't know, like a buddy cop show with Anakin, right? So like, Skywalker.
They did say it's going to be after episode 3, but before episode 4. So we won't get that buddy cop. I'm really interested, because after episode 3, Obi-Wan goes into hiding. So what is it like?
Right? Is it just? Remember we talked about this? It's just him sitting on the desert.
Yeah, like
by himself.
Obi-Wan cave stories, like
caves, cave drawings with Obi-Wan. Yeah, so that's interesting because there's really nothing. We have no info about any of that stuff. So,
But cool to see Ewan McGregor back. I mean, he was one of
yeah,
the bright spots of the prequels.
yep. This is pretty crazy. Marvel announced 3 new shows coming to Disney Plus: She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, and Chris's favorite, Moon Knight.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, huh?
So She-Hulk came out of nowhere. Nobody saw that coming.
Yeah, that's pretty. When you think about it, it's a pretty cool character, though. She's a lawyer by day, Hulk by when she needs to be, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not a huge She-Hulk fan, but I love the backstory of like it's Hulk's cousin who's also a Hulk.
Yeah,
It's like okay,
like how did this happen? I'm curious to see how they're going to do the origin because it's like it's going to be super. I feel like it's going to be super cheesy either way.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird. But Miss Marvel is the one that really perplexes me because I know it's a fan favorite in Marvel, but her origin is the muddiest thing ever. So I wonder if they're gonna keep with that origin because she's an Inhuman, but she's an Inhuman and that's during the whole Terrigen Mist phase when they were trying to kind of get rid of the mutants because they didn't have the mutants. So they have the Terrigen Mist, which activates a gene inside of you that's not the X gene and turns you into an Inhuman and gives you special powers.
It's another gene.
Okay, so how are you gonna do Miss Marvel in live action, or do you just say fuck it and move on? Like, I'll be interested. I mean, the easiest way is just to call her a mutant and go on with our days, but I'll be interested to see because the MCU, one of the dark parts of it is the Inhuman TV show, and it was not good. And I doubt they want to go back to that. But Moon Knight, I am so down for. I think it's way past time that we get Moon Knight in the live action.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool character. Yeah. They also announced Wyatt Russell has been cast as John Walker, a.k.a. the U.S. agent in Falcon and Winter Soldier. So we got a casting.
Yeah. And 2 weeks ago, I just so happened to purchase the first appearance of U.S. Agent.
Yeah, so there you go.
So yeah, I finally clicked on one. But yeah, I got that as for dirt cheap, and it was just to go add to my collection. But yeah, I'm excited. I like the U.S. Agent. U.S. Agent's a cool character, and I was hoping that we were going to do it at some point. But when Cap was sunsetted in the last movie, wasn't so sure if we were ever going to get it. But here we go. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's get on to the movie news. This is pretty funny. So we knew that the Eternals, there's a movie happening, so we got a casting for Black Knight, and it's Game of Thrones star Kit Harington, Jon Snow. So
Jon Snow.
Jon Snow is playing a knight again that dresses in black. I'm wondering if it's partly because like he already had to do like sword fight training, you know what I mean? Like because he's probably gonna be wielding a sword, I would assume. And
well, yeah, he's got to have the ebony blade.
Yeah, so they're like, hey, we know this guy who had some prior experience with a really famous sword, and let's just hire him.
I'm excited to get Black Knight because I like Black Knight, but Kit I'm not so sure on.
Right.
Good on him though, like cash in, because I'm sure. We didn't talk about much because I'm not a Game of Thrones fan, but like all the Game of Thrones people wanted to go on and do new things. And it's like only 2 of you are ever going to be successful. And one was Jason Momoa. So why not just run this, dry? But yeah, go get your money, man. And as far as the movie is concerned, I love Black Knight. It's a cool character. I hope this means that we'll get more of the British superheroes like Captain Britain. And can do something in that side of the Marvel Universe in the near future as well.
Yeah. We finally got a Black Panther 2 release date. May 6th, 2022. So, got a few years.
Mark your calendars.
3 years from now. So, I guess we're waiting. And then, so this news was everywhere. Sony dropped the hammer on Spider-Man. They're not working with Disney anymore. He's not going to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe or Avengers. But they said they're going to continue working with Tom Holland, and he'll join the Venom universe they have.
Yeah.
And from the talks, it was like, first everybody's hating on Sony, then everybody's hating on Disney, and it's like, I don't doubt that it was Disney that came in and riled things up, because they definitely don't need the money compared to Sony. So,
okay, so Sony. We'll start with this. Sony's gonna now have Venom 2 coming out. They're gonna have Mobius coming out. There's rumors that they're gonna move forward with the Sinister Six movie, but now they got Spider-Man back. So, okay. I have no faith in Sony to make a good Spider-Man movie. Venom was a pleasant surprise because it wasn't a complete dumpster truck on fire.
Right.
I think that Sony, in the short term, is making the right decision, because the next Spider-Man movie everybody's going to go see, because they, outside of you, me, and the people that listen to this show and are hardcore comic fans, don't know that it's not an MCU movie.
Right.
So they're going to make their money right away, but as soon as it comes out, if it's not to that quality, they just screw themselves.
Oh, for sure.
But as far as Disney being greedy, yeah, they're being greedy, but they're also a company. And I saw that they were making a very small percentage on those movies. And all, in air quotes, they were asking for was 50% of the box office. I think most likely that's a tactic, because they really want more like 25%, maybe 30%. And they were just starting high so they could bring them down to what they want. But Sony apparently called their bluff and just said, fuck it, we'll take it. We'll see. I mean, everyone's right. Disney doesn't need money. They're being greedy. But they are a company, and they do need to make money. So
yeah, either way, though, it's going to be a pretty bad Spider-Man movie, because, I mean, we know the quality is Sony compared to the quality of...
Yeah, and something I was talking to somebody about, because... a lot of people are saying that Sony doesn't need Marvel, and they're partially right, because Sony will make a Spider-Man movie, they'll make money, and it'll be fine. But at the same time, Marvel really doesn't need Sony. Like, they took the Guardians of the Galaxy and made them $1 billion franchise.
Right. So
pick a character, and Marvel could make it the next Iron Man. Like, there's... Even Iron Man. Iron Man was nobody before the MCU. He was a key character in the universe, but he wasn't a very popular one.
Right.
So I don't think that they really need Spider-Man to move forward with the MCU.
Yeah, I guess we'll wait and find out. I'm sure it's not the end. We'll hear of it.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get a agreement at some point.
This is pretty awesome. We got our first glimpse of Star Wars Episode 9 with a poster, pretty badass poster. With confirmed now, I guess, Palpatine's face behind Kylo and Rey fighting, which is awesome. I also heard there was a new trailer dropped at D23, and I heard some details about the trailer.
Yeah, I heard the big detail being that Rey is going to have a double-sided lightsaber.
A red lightsaber.
Ah, I didn't hear that part.
They said, I guess there was a scene in the trailer where Rey has a double-sided red lightsaber and is wearing dark robes. Yeah. So, listen, I mean, speculation aside, I just hearing that, I was like, ooh, man, how J.J. Abrams, again, knows how to, just pick away at you. Like, why did I do that? You're going to think about it for the next 100 hours. But it could be, you never know. It could be like a force or projection or something of her, having a vision.
Yeah, it could be a force dream. It could be a million things.
Yeah, but still.
I would be so down if JJ just said, fuck it, and the First Order wins. That would be
Rey
awesome.
Becomes the new Darth Vader.
Yeah,
take my money.
Think about it. Yeah, Rey, you keep the backstory.
Wait, Darth Raider?
All right, well, that's the end of episode 130.
Oh, God. Why? Anyways.
My train of thought. So, yeah, I would be down with them keeping the backstory that Rey is nobody. I've said for a while I want that to stay. She doesn't need to be a Skywalker, Kenobi, nobody. She can just be Rey.
Right.
And then you do what Last Jedi hinted at and have her hook up with Kylo Ren and they rule the Empire together. That would be cool. Like,
yeah.
And it sets up something for Rian Johnson to do moving forward because we know he has a trilogy coming. So even though it doesn't involve the main characters from the saga, at the same time, he could be, continuing that story in a different way. So, as far as the Emperor goes, that was cool just to see him back again, looking just like he did. And I thought the poster was just enough of a tease to get me way excited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Cannot wait. And that was just a poster we saw. So, yeah. Suicide Squad 2 announces 2 new casting decisions. Steve Agee will play King Shark. I'm not sure who that is. I'll have to look him up.
He was in Overlord.
Oh, yeah. Main
character. He's actually a comedian.
Okay.
Apparently, but yeah, he's obviously he's going to be voicing him.
Overlord is awesome. So, Nathan Fillion is joining the cast as an unnamed character.
Please be Polka Dot Man. Please be Polka Dot Man.
I mean, dude, hold on though. Like we finally got Nathan Fillion in the DC universe, man. It sucks that he's not Hal Jordan. I mean, we talked about this so many times, right? Because he voices Hal Jordan in the cartoon. Yeah. But dude, I love Nathan Fillion, man. He is so. I mean, I'm a huge Firefly fan. I'm a Firefly fan, and yeah, I've never watched what's that show he's on, Castle. I've never watched that show, but he's just awesome.
Yeah, everyone loves Nathan Fillion. He's great, but
yeah,
what I really hope is that he is the character that they kill right away.
You never know, he might.
Because that'd just be so perfect to be like, everybody's excited about Nathan Fillion coming. Oh my god, Nathan Fillion's in this movie.
Yeah,
he's so and so, and then within 20 minutes, boom, his head blows up.
Knowing James Gunn, dude, he would probably do that. I have no doubts.
Please do it. Like, you need to. Like I said with the last movie, one of the big mistakes with the intro was you didn't give an intro to Slipknot, so right away everyone knew he was dying.
Yeah,
and he wasn't a big name, so everybody's like, "Oh, you're not going to kill Will Smith."
Right?
He's on the poster. He's the big name.
Yeah.
So it would be cool if James Gunn did that, just to add that little bit of suspense to the intro.
Yeah, I think it would be awesome. Have like the biggest star there die first. Yeah, so almost like Deadpool, right? With what was it, Shadow Star or whatever the X-Men's name is.
Yeah, where everybody got excited about the X-Force, and then
they're like, "Oh my god, the guy with the sword and stuff," and then he died. Even I was like, I think that character was really cool, and they killed him. That was awesome. All right, let's jump into the comic news. Naturally, with the new Netflix show, He-Man's getting a new limited series called He-Man and the Masters of the Multiverse. So sign me up because that sounds awesome. I'm a huge alliteration fan, and like the fact that it's like the Masters of the Multiverse, dude, that sounds so badass. Whether it's different versions of He-Man or whether it's different DC multiverses, I don't even care. But Tim Seeley's doing the art, which is great.
Tim Seeley's writing it.
Oh, okay. Well, either way, Tim Seeley's a great writer too. And Dan Fraga and Richard Friend on art. So Tim Seeley's a great writer. If you ever read like Hack Slash, stuff like that. And he was doing Dick Grayson for a while too, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he has a lot of ties to DC, so we might see something cool come out of that.
Yeah, from what I read, it's different He-Mans throughout the multiverse of He-Man.
I hope there's like a He-Man, Superman like universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
that'd be so cool.
It's a cool idea. And I feel like Tim Seeley's new passion is He-Man because every time I see his name pop up, it's either an Aftershock comic or a new He-Man limited series.
Yeah. This is kind of sad for me because I'm loving this book. Green Lantern number 12 is going to be the final issue of the series. The creative team will return for a 3-issue series, Green Lantern Black Stars, but they promise to reunite in the future, which means Grant Morrison wants to go do other stuff for a few years.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked this is ending so soon, though.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's been really good. I mean, the last issue was the Green Lanterns of the Multiverse, and Grant Morrison loves doing that stuff. It was an amazing issue. The art is Liam Sharp's art, man. Oh my god, that book is like a painting. It's amazing.
I almost think I'm not reading the book, so I'm probably way off kilter here, but didn't they like turn the Green Lanterns into another type of core or something?
No, so the first series ended. Now I think he's just doing like one-shot stories. He didn't. No, so they're still Green Lanterns.
Oh, okay.
You're talking about the Ultraviolet Corps?
No, I thought Hal Jordan was like becoming something.
Yeah, well, he was becoming a Black Star. They called him.
Okay, So I wonder if maybe this is a red herring, and we're gonna get like Hal Jordan and the Black Stars. After this,
Right. Yeah, we'll see. Either way, it's been a great. It's not. I don't. It's definitely not because the quality of the book is bad, because I feel like a lot of people are reading it.
No, and I remember Grant saying something along the lines of this is like season 1 of my story, so I definitely feel like there's something going on here.
Mm-hmm. Marvel stuff. They announced Morbius, the Living Vampire, getting his own series in November. Written by Vita Ayala and artist Marcelo Ferreira. That's obvious, right? They got the movie coming out. You got to get the popularity for the character. I mean, if you like vampires,
it's a living vampire.
The living vampire.
He's a vampire of science.
Whoa! Wow,
that's the scariest kind of vampire.
Yeah, they feed on knowledge.
This, I joked about it online, but the fact that Marvel is still going all in on Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if all these get canceled, then you can tell me I'm wrong, but the fact that there's like a ton of new Spider-Man book coming out proves that they don't care if somebody else owns the property. They're still going to make their money on the comics.
Exactly. Deadpool gets another number 1 with new creative team, Kelly Thompson and artist Chris Bacalo. Deadpool number 1, going to make a buttload of money, probably.
Yeah, I'm going to go to sleep now.
Marvel announces Yondu is getting his own solo series with writers Lonnie Nadler and Zach Thompson. Do you think Yondu is a strong enough character to get his own book?
Any character with a great writer can be a good story.
The problem for me is it doesn't say limited series. You know what I mean? It says solo series. Like, why not do the DC thing and be like, okay, we're going to do Dial H for 6 issues. If there's something here, we're going to tell everybody 12 issues. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but DC's just as guilty of it as Marvel, but it could be that it's a 6-issue series that if it sells well will become an ongoing. And they're just going to release it as an ongoing and say 6 issues in, it's been canceled.
Yeah.
Every company does it. I guarantee that's what's happening here. Yondu's not going to sell. It's too...
He looks too much like Savage Dragon.
Well, it's just... he's Space Punisher,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's only so much you can do there.
And there was already a book called Space Punisher.
It's already done. Absolute Carnage Scream will get her own series called Scream, Curse of Carnage by writer Clay Nadler and artist Chris Mooneyham. Man, this Mooneyham. I love reading that name.
It's a good name.
Mooneyham.
You didn't pick up Absolute Carnage Scream, did you?
No.
I'll talk about it more later in the show, but it was enjoyable enough. I don't know if I would continue with an ongoing series, though.
Yeah.
It would have to be like Donnie doing it or something.
Yeah, right. If they put someone like that, I'd be interested, but I really have no interest at all. Marvel announces November is the start of all new cosmic event sequel to Annihilation. The first issue is called Annihilation Scourge Alpha, written by Matt Rosenberg, art by Juan Ramirez. So what do you think about that? I mean, are you ready for another event already?
I'm a Marvel fan. I'm always ready for an event.
Yeah.
Annihilation is one of the great Marvel events in recent history, though. Like, Annihilation does not get the credit it deserves because it was happening at the same time as Civil War. So it was tough to go against the big name Civil War. If you haven't read Annihilation, I highly recommend it. It's a great event. And if you're a fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy, that's kind of where the Guardians as we know them began. That book includes, all the characters and they go up against a force from the negative zone. It was just a cool storyline. So I'm down for this. I like Matthew Rosenberg. I think he's a great writer. I enjoyed his Punisher stuff. I haven't read a lot of his more recent stuff because he was kind of in on the X-Men stuff before I became an X-Men fanboy. But yeah, Annihilation, I am so down for it.
The Annihilation series, you're right. I've always thought about reading it, and it was like Civil War came out at the same time, and I was like, oh, I heard about Civil War. I'm like, what's this Annihilation thing?
I just really have to recommend it. It's it's the beginning of, it's hard to say this, but Marvel Cosmic with Jim Starlin was great, and a lot of the Thanos stuff was really great, but the modern era of great Marvel Cosmic starts with Annihilation. And just from there, that's, like I said, that's where we get the Guardians of the Galaxy team that we all know from the movies. Along with other characters that I really enjoy to this day. So that's a series I cannot recommend enough.
Maybe we'll check it out. The Runaways are getting all new costumes and an all new super team. Doc Justice and the J Team will premiere in November to replace the Runaways' ongoing title. What?
This fucking series.
What do you think about it?
So Marvel all week was like teasing this team, like it's the next great super team.
Oh god!
You have the Avengers, you have the Invaders, you have the Defenders, you have the Thunderbolts, and you have Doc Justice and the J Team. It's like, what the fuck is this? So we're all looking at it, and it's obvious that they want to do a Teen Titans book,
right?
And so this is their Teen Titans book. And I get it. Like, at some point, the Runaways idea has to end. Like, the Runaways works in a limited series. Mm-hmm. Those first couple series are really great. Check them out. It's, Brian K. Vaughan, and I forget who took over after him, but great writers did it. But, like, at a certain point, you're no longer a runaway. You're just, like, a dude running around with superpowers. Like, so get a costume and go fight crime.
Right.
So it's I don't know. It's an interesting idea. It's long overdue, but the name is just so stupid.
It's really bad. Doc Justice and the J Team.
Yeah.
Someone should be fired. That's awful. This is pretty cool. Garth Ennis is coming back to Punisher with 2 new titles. I don't know why he needs to do 2, but Punisher Soviet will be drawn by Jason Burrows, and Punisher Get Fury will be drawn by Goran Parlov, slated for next year. Any interest in these? I mean, I love Garth Ennis, and I like Punisher.
I haven't read a ton of the Garth Ennis Punisher stuff because I'm not a big Punisher person, but
I've never read any of it, but I like Garth Ennis.
Yeah, Punisher's one of those characters we talk about 1,000 times, but I like Punisher when he's being wacky. I like Frankencastle. I like War Machine Punisher. I like stuff like that. Like Space Punisher. And I never got into Garth's stuff, but it's all stuff I want to try out because he does a lot of, by the names Soviet and Get Fury, he does a lot of Vietnam-esque stories with Punisher, which is really cool. So
yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty sad for you. Star Wars is ending with issue 75. The last issue is going to take everybody up to the the point of Empire Strikes Back, and then there's nothing announced after that, right? They haven't said anything about any other books.
Yeah, we'll get the announcement next month.
Yep.
That's all I got to say about it, really. I mean, they're at the point where they're trying to find the new base for the Rebels. We know it's going to be Hoth.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure that they're going to announce a series that is Star Wars after Empire or whatever, So, yeah, it sucks. I'm enjoying the book, but I very much believe that we're getting a series after this. There's just no way they're not going to do it.
They can't cash in on the Star Wars.
Yeah.
Marvel's returning to $20.99 this November. Oh boy. Nick Spencer's helming the crossover event. And it's gonna span through his Amazing Spider-Man series with plenty of one-shots to go along. The one-shots are gonna include, oh boy, 2099 Alpha #1, 2099 Omega #1, Fantastic Four, Punisher, Conan, Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, Doom, and Venom. I want to see the Conan 2099.
Because they released a bunch of the images for the characters and a couple of the covers. The Conan 2099 is King Conan with a lightsaber.
Oh my god. What? Oh my god. That is amazing.
I love 2099. It's a great series. Some of the ancillary books aren't as that great, but they're interesting enough.
Right.
The Doom book is really good if anyone has a chance to read it. So I'm excited to get back to those characters and see. Obviously, Amazing Spider-Man has hinted towards 2099 in issue 25, I believe. So we knew something was coming. To do something this expansive with it, I'm super excited because maybe that means we'll do more afterwards if it's successful. Right. And I trust in Nick Spencer.
Yeah.
I looked at this list and I was like, I'm only going to get the stuff that's like, I'll get the Alpha, the Omega, and maybe pick up a few of the ones I really am interested in. Then I went down the list and I was like, oh man. The only one I don't want is Fantastic Four, so.
I thought Fantastic Four is like probably the one of the only teams in the Marvel Universe that goes to the future all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was the only one I wasn't interested in, so I was like, fuck it, I'll just get the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I want to see what Venom 2099 is.
Mm-hmm.
I love Ghost Rider 2099. Doom, like I said, Doom was the best series in that 2099 event. And then Punisher was really cool. And like I said earlier, Conan is King Conan with the lightsaber, so of course I'm going to get that.
Why would you not?
Yeah, so I'm so excited for this. It's really cool to go back to this. And I like the marketing scheme here because the 80th anniversary of Marvel, 80 years from today is 2099.
Mm-hmm.
So that's their whole marketing scheme is like, it's been 80 years. 80 years from today will be this. So let's do an event around it.
Huh. Interesting. I like it. Yeah, I think it's gonna be cool. Especially, I mean, Conan with the lightsaber. Come on, dude.
Yeah. Check out that cover. It is one of the great covers recently. Like, I just love it.
For sure.
And Jerry Duggan's writing the book too, so.
Have you been watching Preacher at all? I know we haven't talked about it, but
I was unable to catch up.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't have internet, so I just downloaded the 4 episodes onto my tablet, and I'm gonna try to watch them throughout the week.
All right, well, let's talk about what we read this week.
Yeah.
I actually, you know what I did? I wrote notes as I read. What?
Holy shit.
Yep. So now I don't have to flip through the pages like a bumbling buffoon. Not that that's what you do, but I usually have to do it, and I could never.
It is what I do, so don't feel bad.
So Batman 77 this week. Finally, by the end of it, Batman looks like he's ready to fight, like go to Gotham and have the beat down. Crazy issue. I don't know. You might have read it somewhere on the internet.
So let's start this with everybody. There's going to be huge spoilers because I did read about it. If you've somehow kept yourself out of it.
Yeah. Batman 77, huge spoilers. I probably should have led with that.
So I heard this is the big issue where everything changes for Batman.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So Damian gets captured because he tries to take on Gotham Girl, and she obviously beats the crap out of him. He gets captured, and basically they said to Alfred, like, if anybody tries to help you, we're going to kill you. And so they make Damian sit there and watch as Bane snaps Alfred's neck.
Yeah, it's huge.
Crazy. And Batman's finally like, okay, I'm coming to Gotham to fight. Dude, Gotham's got nothing, or Batman's got nobody to fight for anymore. I mean, like, Alfred's gone, dude. Holy crap. So pretty awesome. It's starting to pick up now, and we're out of that nightmare bull crap that Tom King was doing, and really interesting stuff. Dude, I got to the end of the issue, I was like, holy shit, I was not expecting that at all.
It does create an interesting new normal moving forward, because the Batman we've known for our entire lives, I mean, Alfred's always been there, but even before that, before Alfred became Oracle, there was Oracle. So there was always somebody back home to be like, this is what's to help him along. Mm-hmm. Oracle is now recovered and is Batgirl, and now Alfred's dead. So it's literally just Batman out there fighting crime.
Right. It's crazy.
It's a cool idea. Like, I gotta say, I never would have seen it coming. Mm-hmm. I think he was spot on when he said this is something that's going to change Batman forever. And it makes me excited for what Batman is after this.
I'm sure Batman has his DNA and is going to clone Alfred, but we'll be ready for when that happens.
I hope that DC at least gives him a few years of no Alfred and just says Batman on his own, Lone Ranger in Gotham fighting crime, and get somebody of quality to write the book so that we can, get good stories out of it.
Yeah.
But I hope you're wrong, and it's not just like, Alfred's back, guys. He didn't really snap his neck. He was just faking it.
I was just faking my neck snap. See, he, like, tilts his head up. Right.
That being said, I know he's coming back in a couple of years. I'm not.
Yeah. Yep. Really good issue.
I read a comic.
You're the Villain. Black Mask was okay. Written by Tom Taylor, so I checked it out. It talks about Black Mask and how he was jealous of a young Bruce Wayne when he was a kid, and his parents are always like picking on him for not being fancy like Bruce Wayne. So he obviously burns his house down and kills his parents because that's the most logical thing to do.
He wasn't a fancy boy.
No. And he basically, and it's all the Year of the Villain stuff is showing how these villains are related to Lex Luthor, like what they're doing in his grand scheme of things. So I think they end up in Detroit, where he is like the head of a CEO of a company, and he almost adopts new identities. Like, he puts faces over his Black Mask now, and so because he's in Detroit, Batwoman and Renee Montoya join up forces because they used to have a thing, and now they're going to fight crime together. So that whole thing happens. It was an okay issue. Black Mask gets away.
Shocking.
It wasn't as good as the first Year of the Villain, the one I told you about with Mark Russell wrote about Sinestro. That was a lot better than this one.
Yes, which I did pick up, but I've not had a chance to read.
Superman Year 1 Part 2.
I actually haven't read this one yet.
Okay, well, I'll give you the big top-down view. Man, I'll tell you, Frank Miller loves writing about the Army, dude, because it shows a lot of Kent as an Army recruit. And that's most of the issue, is him being and he excels at everything because he's Superman, but he tries to hide it the best he can. It takes a strange turn though, like where he's stationed in the Army is, well, he wants to be part of the Navy SEALs, but like they're next to the water, and he ends up finding, like, he gets called by the mermaids, and he finds Atlantis one night, and the book goes from being an Army recruit, almost like it was almost like watching A Few Good Men or something, and it goes to like him down in Atlantis fighting. It's weird because it turns into Shape of Water because then he falls in love with like a mermaid. And then he has to fight Poseidon because Poseidon's her father, so he fights off the Kraken. It's pretty crazy. Really,
that's a from dusk till dawn level twist.
Yeah, like it goes from like army recruit, but it's not weird. I don't know, like it's clearly defined like two worlds, like one of fantasy where but it's almost like symbolizing because when he gets down to Atlantis, he puts like a cape on and stuff, but when he's up on the shore, he's like, he's pretty much, but there's, he looks like everybody else. There's a cool scene with a grenade and his platoon, like, he saves them. He kind of like grabs the grenade and crushes it in his hands so they don't blow up. It was almost like the scene in the Superman movie where Lois Lane goes to get shot and he like stands in front of the bullet. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like a nod to that. I feel like it was a good issue. And I'm interested to see how they wrap it up because I guess this was kind of like the foundation for like Superman. Kind of, you can see where he's getting his moral compass because they obviously have to kill people in the army, so he almost questions that, like, why is it so easy for you guys to just kill people? Like, he doesn't understand that.
Well, I see where Frank's going. I mean, this is tied into the Dark Knight universe,
right? So
you need to bring Superman to this place where he's going to work with Nixon.
Right.
So I see what's going on. But the first issue was great. I can't wait to get to the second one. Just haven't had a chance to do it.
I think the most interesting thing about it was Superman gets in the water and apparently he could just tell his lungs that he can breathe water now, which was...
Fuck it, he's Superman. He has all the powers.
Yeah, that's basically what Frank Miller's saying. He they're like, but how is he going to breathe underwater, Frank? And he's just like, he's just going to breathe underwater. Like, and that's basically, there's like one word bubble about it and nobody ever questions it again. Like,
to be fair, he goes into space all the time without a mask. So
yeah, so whatever. Weatherman number 3 or Weatherman Part 2 number 3. They finally get to we talked about how they find the grave of they're looking for the doctor to retrieve Nathan's mind so they can figure out where the evil terrorist corporation is keeping the bomb. They find out the doctor's dead, so they go to the laboratory because they find the lab partner at the grave. Pretty much they find out that all the recordings and like any other important stuff that might be about Nathan's past are in another lab, so they have to go ahead to another lab, and as they're doing that, they get like bombarded by bounty hunters and stuff. So there's like a bounty hunter crew chasing after them, and they're still on the run, trying to unlock the secret of like, what is this weapon going to do? How do we stop it? Because there is one coming. The interesting thing about Earth and the like, how it's kind of infected. Like we have these infected humans, almost like zombies running around. It's weird. They say like the monsters started off like a mist, and then they can like achieve solid form somehow. It's pretty crazy how like they can just like turn into a mist and then turn into like a monster. It's pretty interesting. And it's just a wacky book that just like, it's awesome. It's a great story. Unearthed number 2 by Cullen Bunn, Kyle Stram, by Image Comics. There's not a whole lot to say about this book. They're looking for a cure in like Mexico or somewhere for this parasite that's infecting people. They go to a cave. They get split up in the cave by this monster. They keep discovering weird. It's almost like an Alien movie level horror where it's like they keep finding like different things that they shouldn't be touching, like, acid spraying stuff and then like these little like almost like face huggers from Alien. It's all this really gross stuff is happening. And that's pretty much it. They're in the cave looking for a cure to the infection. The team split up. Guardians of the Galaxy number 8.
Great book. Good stuff. Pretty Rocket focused issue. We find out why he looks all beaten down.
like he's got a disease. Moondragon and Groot need Rocket's help. So he basically tells him his origin story of, he goes to Half World, and he was just a normal animal, and then they do experiments, and now like whatever they did to him is wearing off, so that's why he's pretty much going back to that form where he won't be sentient. Well, not sentient, but he won't have that higher level intelligence, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is sad, but
yeah, and I'm on Rocket's side on this, because there's a moment where he's like, they're getting on him for running away and just hiding and not talking to anybody, and Rocket's like, I've saved the galaxy how many times? As a member of the Guardians, I've done all these great things. Aren't I allowed to just die the way I want to die?
Yeah.
And not have to, and be remembered the way I want to be remembered? And Groot's kind of like, no, you don't. Like, you need to come with us.
Right.
And I think Groot's in the wrong. I think Rocket has every right to just have the memory of Rocket the way it is and let him fade if that's what he chooses. That being said, obviously Rocket's going to go with him, and now we're going to get like Mecha Rocket.
Yeah, Rocket in like a Gundam suit is what it looked like. But I mean, they have nowhere else to turn though to save the team is the problem, I think. I
understand, like, they need Rocket for this mission, but I don't blame Rocket for how he feels.
Yeah,
I think he's right.
And then we find out at the Church of Truth or whatever that their friends are still alive. They're just in like a mind sucking device or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But I think the coolest part of the issue for me was I can never remember that character. That character appears in not just Marvel, but the Russian dog that it's an astronaut, a cosmonaut. Is it Cosmo?
Cosmo, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a Marvel character.
Oh, okay. Well, there's renditions have been done before, like in Image Comics. You ever read Manhattan Projects?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's based on a actual dog that went into space.
Right. But they always give him they always make him talk like in the books. Yeah. But the him and the other dog, Lockjaw. Yeah, they see each other like, oh, how are you? And it's like their greeting is very like formal, like, godly dog, how are, and like it to everybody else is like they're just barking. They're like space dogs. I thought that was awesome. That was a great part of the book. Yeah, so it looks like Guardians of the Galaxies are up shit creek without a paddle, and we got to go Mobile Suit Gundam to save them.
It's going to be very interesting because I can never remember the church's name, but the church is taking all these people, and we see a cocoon, and it's usually Adam Warlock.
Right, yeah.
And Star-Lord even says, like, haven't you guys learned, like, you constantly do this, you bring back Adam Warlock, and it doesn't work. And the people there are just like, well, we did learn, and it's not Adam Warlock, and it's not just one. And we see a whole fleet of cocoons. So my suspicion is we're getting Magnus, and not just one Magnus, which is terrifying enough.
Mm-hmm.
All of these Magnuses coming. I'm super excited. I'm a huge Adam Warlock fan. As weird as his backstory is, I just love him. So to get this to be kind of the finale for this storyline,
right?
And
pretty cool.
It almost lines up with Annihilation too, so I'm sure it hints into that. But yeah, Donnie's been killing it on the Guardians. It's been great. Yeah,
it was a really solid issue. But that was it for me this week.
Okay, I'll try to be quick because I got 2 weeks worth of books. Powers of X2 and 3 came out side by side. The basics you got to take from it is that we know how Maria's lives are affecting the story. So a lot of the timelines we're seeing are different lives of Maria. And I think it was issue 3 where Maria dies again. That leads into the life that we know, the timeline that we are in. So it's Kirkman setting up Maria as a more important character moving forward for the X-Men, and that her knowledge from 10 previous lives is going to come into effect to what they do with Krakoa. It's been crazy. It's almost, what's that book he did? From East to West. Crazy.
Oh man.
Or it's just East to West.
Yeah,
That's
just
right.
East to West. Yeah.
East of West. It's that level crazy, and I love it because that's the Hickman I love. So really enjoying that book. Speaking of Cullen Bunn, we got Absolute Carnage Scream #1. It's a very basic Venom-like story. I did enjoy it a little bit with how her character was Scream for a very short period of time and was in a team, and now she's got the suit back and has to fight Carnage. So we'll see where it goes. But it's a Cullen Bunn joint, so it's interesting enough. Star Wars Target Vader #2, really good. It's Suicide Squad going off to kill Vader. It's great.
That's awesome.
Miles Morales #9 was really good. We get Miles saved from the Saw-like thing he's in, and there's a reunion of the family where Miles' uncle, as you know from Into the Spider-Verse, is Prowler, and he's redeemed himself throughout this series and now is back into the grace with his brother, who had at one point said, "I want nothing to do with you." It's a really cool and touching story, especially for someone who's read Miles from the beginning. Black Hammer Justice League #2 was interesting. It was a lot of just who are you and what are you doing kind of stories. I did like the Cyborg sitting in the house by himself because they're in the Black Hammer universe, so he can't go out because he's a cyborg, and him just kind of sitting there hating himself and like wanting everything to end, and the conversation he has with Wonder Woman is very interesting. Star Wars TIE Fighter #5. This one ends with a battle. The TIE Fighter squadron wins, but the big thing here was that, like I said earlier in the show, there was a moment where they get back to the ship and they're talking, and there's the announcement that Palpatine has died. And they're all kind of sitting around going like, well, what do we do now? Like,
do we fly?
Palpatine's dead. Like, the Empire's done. And one of the captains says, just because Palpatine's dead doesn't mean the Empire's done. The Empire's more than one man. You wait for your orders. And that really stuck with me, especially with this episode 9 coming up and The Mandalorian, because it does make sense. Like, the Empire doesn't just crumble because the Emperor's dead. Just like, the United States doesn't end just because somebody assassinates the president. Like, there's more to it than that. So I would like to see more in that line of what happens to the galaxy and the Empire specifically after that assassination.
Right.
History of the Marvel Universe #2. This is a textbook turned into a comic book because it's literally the history of the Marvel Universe, panel by panel, what happened throughout the ages. It's interesting for me, and it fills some holes that I didn't know about Marvel. So unless you're someone who's really into Marvel history, I wouldn't read it, but I enjoyed it.
Maybe I should check it out.
It's written by Mark Waid as well. Daredevil #10. I'm really liking the story because it's got Matt Murdock really questioning between his Catholicism and whether he should continue to be Daredevil, and whether having these powers means he has to be a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, he's got a new role as a parole officer as opposed to a lawyer. And at the end of the day, he ends up putting on the mask we know from the Netflix series that was back in Frank Miller's run, where it's just like the sheet over his eyes, and fights some baddies.
Nice.
Jane Foster Valkyrie #2, really good series so far. Ends with what was the god? Heimdall dying, but Heimdall asks Valkyrie, I don't want to go to hell, I don't want to go to Valhalla, I want to see what's beyond. So it looks like the book moving forward is going to be Jane Foster taking Heimdall's soul beyond to what there is after all these things. But I'm really enjoying that book.
Cool.
James Bond 007 #10. Really good series if you like James Bond. Not Goldfinger.
No.
Yeah, Goldfinger.
Goldfinger, yeah.
Yeah, I got Goldfinger and Goldmember mixed up. Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Goldfinger's the villain. He has a big plan to skyrocket gold prices. Shocking.
Oh, man.
It's been a lot of fun. Aquaman number 51, not a great issue. Aqualad's in it. It's a lot of talky about the sea gods that are now in this island and them trying to help them out. But it does end in a way in which Black Manta gets a giant mech suit.
Oh, nice.
So we're going to get a giant mech suit, Black Manta. Dr. Aphra, 35, really good book. Not going to go into it. We already talked about that one. All right, White Trees number 1. I got a great story about this. This is an Image Comics book by Chip Zdarsky.
Okay.
Really enjoying everything Chip does. It's a fantasy story about these 3 men who were at one time war heroes, very fantasy driven. One's an elf, one's like a bear person. I don't know. But if you pick up this book, do yourself a favor and don't do what I do. Read it in private. So there's a moment in this book in which I was reading it while I was working at my second job, in which these 2 of the characters are gay, and these kind of fairy things pop up and start taking over their mind and forcing them to do things. And there's a giant orgy scene, and they show everything.
Classic Image Comics.
So, really great story. I'm enjoying what it is. It's only 2 issues too, so it's quick. You buy 2 issues to get the story.
I mean, this is by the writer of Sex Criminals, so you probably should have taken a little bit of...
And I'm told there was a warning ahead of time,
right?
That he said something, but I didn't notice it. So, but yeah, just don't read that one in public. I'm just saying.
Wasn't there like there was always like a not safe for work cover of Sex Criminals every time it came out, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Silver Surfer Black number 3.
Oh, I missed that one. Damn.
Just another great issue. It's Surfer is at Ego, the living planet, and trying to figure out how Ego can help, and Ego is becoming sick. And Surfer dives into him to see what the insides, the guts, the intestines, the immune system of a living planet looks like. And so it's a lot of that, him traveling through and seeing and trying to figure out what's wrong with Ego. When they do find out what's wrong with Ego, it's actually a cocoon that houses Galactus.
Oh.
Galactus had at one point become the Lifebringer, so I'm guessing this is them turning him back into Galactus, the Devourer. But it was a really interesting book, and just the art and how they did all this stuff with Ego's intestinal tract and everything was really kind of cool.
Sounds interesting.
And then my final book's going to be Event Leviathan number 3. Not to anyone's shock, Red Hood is not the one that's Leviathan.
Yeah, I did read that as well.
So we jump through how everyone got to that point, their encounters with Red Hood when they attacked him at the end of issue 2, and how they know that he's not the one, and just kind of raises more questions moving forward. Now, personally, I knew it wasn't Red Hood because I read Teen Titans, and Teen Titans was really kind of pushing that narrative. But some of the things that Red Hood said lead me down certain paths. I almost wonder now if this is... It's either somebody from Superman's past who we haven't seen in a long time, and I'm not enough of a DC buff to know the answers to exactly who this is, or it's a Legion of Superheroes villain. Those are my 2 thoughts. But I am enjoying the book. It is very much a detective book, which is something different from DC right now. So
yeah, it's almost like Brainiac or someone, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I've been asking around to people who are more DC fans because everyone knows I'm more of a Marvel zombie.
Yeah.
And nobody... A lot of people are tending to lean towards my first one, which is somebody from Superman's past. I've even heard some answers to who it was from like 80s crossover events that I've never heard of before.
Yeah.
But the Legion of Supervillain Heroes one really intrigues me because I believe this book ends right as Legion Millennium begins.
Oh, okay, that would make sense. Like, oh, where did this guy come from?
Yeah. So, but we'll see. You never know. I will say, though, that Bendis moving to DC was really great for his career. I think his books have been a lot better recently at DC than they were at the last 5 or so years at Marvel, outside of like Miles and a few other.
Right. Yeah. He's been doing a great job. Yeah. Good stuff.
Speaking of great job, Mike, where can people find you on the internet?
Find me at Fortress Ricker on Twitter. Where can they find you, Chris?
Well, they can find me at Fortress Chris, or they can find both of us at FortressComicNews.com, or you can find the show at FCN_official. Remember, everybody, 5-star reviews, likes, subscribe, share, blah, 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 blah. Nobody cares. But do all that. It helps us out and makes Mike feel good about himself when he goes to bed at night. This is going to be the last week. If you had any plans to give us money for anything, just don't do that and go to the link at the top of our website and donate to Cystic Fibrosis to help people who need money more than we do for this month. But then next month you can give us that money again. But help that charity out. It's a lot of good. So everybody, thanks for listening, and we'll see y'all hopefully next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Good stuff.
I look like I'm in a cave and Al Qaeda's about to come out.
You look like you took the week we didn't do the show, you went into hiding. We've said too much. Oh man. It's not safe anymore. I had to move my operation. We're reporting too much comic news. The propaganda is real. Big Brother's watching.